Welcome into TDN Against the Spread. I'm Paige Demakos with my usual suspects, Jake Arians, Jamie Eisner. You know us from the TDN Fantasy Podcast and everything that we're doing at the Draft Network. Today is a extra special episode because we're enemies today. Poor Jamie has to play Switzerland in the middle because if I could punch Jake, I would, right? I got to go this way to punch him through the video camera because the Bears and the Bucks are kicking off on Thursday Night Football. It should be a really, really fun matchup. Lots of injuries in this game, unfortunately, but excited to go against my guy and for Jamie to have to inevitably try and tell one of us to shut up when we do this podcast. So, Jake, how you feeling about the game tonight? You feeling confident? How's it going a couple hours before kickoff?
I'm starting to get the nervous feeling, right? I mean, Thursday night on the road, you're really banged up. I'm really hoping Mike Evans feels great after the flight and he's going to play. Scotty Miller's going to play. At least we have some weapons. I did see a stat this morning that makes me feel a little better. That my man TB12, Tom Brady, is 9-0 on short weeks on Thursday night. So I was feeling, I got a little bump in confidence from that stat. My boy Jamie playing Roger Federer over here might have to shut us up. But as you said the other day, Paige, I hate that we're not in Chicago for this. We were going to go to the game, spend the weekend up there, kiss and make up for whatever happens tonight after the game. But it should be a lot of fun. It should be a really good game. Two really good defenses.
Jamie, I'm going to give you the opportunity to plant your flag and tell us which way you are picking this one. This line has moved significantly. It started kind of over at 5.5, moved its way down to 3.5 now. The Buccaneers are favored on the road here against the Nick Foles-led Chicago Bears. I'll let you make the pick. Who are you picking in this one? And are you you can make a pick and who you think is going to win the game, because I think they might be two different things.
So listeners of the TDN Fantasy Podcast are well aware of this line change because we tipped you off to it on our show a few days ago. We said, wait, this line's probably going to go to -3.5 for Tampa. And that's exactly what it did. This is a tough game to pick because Tampa is so banged up. No Leonard Fournette. They might be down their three of their top four wide receivers, depending on Mike Evans' status for this game. They're really banged up. But what they aren't is as bad as the Bears offense has been right now. And that's going to be the difference in the game for me. I love this line has come back down to earth because a fully healthy Buccaneers team, they were going to be like 8-point favorites in this game. And when you start getting above a touchdown for a road team on Thursday night, I get really, really nervous. But I think they can do enough to get this job done. I think it's going to be a relatively low scoring game. But if I have to choose between the two quarterbacks in this game, I will take Tom Brady and whatever he has left on that Buccaneers side over whatever the hell I saw from Nick Foles last week. I need to see a lot more from this Bears offense. I need to see a lot more from Matt Nagy's play calling before I pick them to win this game. But there's an interesting battle there between Tom Brady's Thursday Night Football record and Matt Nagy's Thursday Night Football record, because I believe they are both unblemished in the last several years.
That is correct. No faith in the Philly special. No faith in Nick Foles, who battled Tom Brady in the biggest game there was and got a victory. I tend to agree with you. As much as I'd love to sit here and beat my chest about the Chicago Bears, their offense has been lackluster, and that's putting it nicely, especially under Nick Foles last week. So I'm feeling confident that it's going to be a low-scoring game and that it could be an ugly game, and that could end up being okay for the home team. But I don't feel super confident going into this one. I would feel less confident if the Bucs had their full roster, but the injuries have definitely plagued that, especially that offense, and that could end up being okay for the Bears. But hopefully me and Jake just stay friends after this. I think we'll be fine. But as everybody knows, the Bears' aspirations this year, at least in my opinion, were not to win a Super Bowl, and the Bucs are. So I will somehow be okay with this loss if it happens, but I still want to put a wager on it because I can't help myself. Okay, I cannot help myself.
Yeah.
So I have to ride for my team. I gotta know if I at least have to ask off the top, will you give me the 3.5 points? Like, are you gonna let me have that, or do I have to go the Bears gotta win? Because I'm gonna feel less confident in my wager here if I can't have the 3.5 points.
No, you got the home team on Thursday. No, we're going straight. We're going straight up. Last time I checked, your record was pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I'm not giving you 3.5.
Okay, well, I don't get the money line here.
So what's the deal here, guys?
At the end of tonight, I don't care. This is get out of here with a win and get your butts home and have 10 days to get ready for Green Bay. It doesn't matter how it happens. I don't care. I'll take 3-0. I don't give a damn if this is the ugliest game anybody's ever watched. I don't care what the TV ratings are. I don't care about anything but a W. So no, I'm not giving you that.
It's all that matters.
Exactly.
But I need to know, what are you guys wagering? And is it going to be like, am I going to benefit? Like, is this the loser buying me lunch? Like, I just need to know what I'm getting out of this deal. That's all I care about.
You're out.
You're out.
I'd be down for that, but you're going to be in Chi-Town yourself.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality for you if you were.
They'll deliver.
I've heard.
We'll DoorDash you from Arizona.
Yeah, we'll DoorDash you something special from Scottsdale. I'm willing and able to put on the Bears winning this game. Okay, your choice, Jake. We have two very fine establishments from Chicago here in Arizona: Portillo's and Lou Malnati's. You can you make your choice. I will buy you whatever you want, including an entire chocolate cake from Portillo's if that's what you end up choosing. Because man, I would be like, that's a good choice, Jake. That's a smart choice. You can have whatever you want. You make the choice. You want Lou Malnati's pizza or Portillo's? I'll buy you whatever to make it to ease the pain of this inevitable loss, because I know I'm going to be the one ending up buying lunch here. And at least I'll get Lou Malnati's and Portillo's.
I was going to say, you might as well put it in your favor if that's the case. I'm down with any of that. Okay. If that's the case, I'll bring a really nice bottle of wine to make sure that whatever we do is a lot of fun.
That sounds good. And sorry for Jamie that he gets kicked out and ousted out of this, but he's actually going to be in Chicago here pretty soon. So we'll have to deliver you some Lou's from like 2 blocks away, because that's how often you can find them in Chicago. So somehow I think you'll survive, Jamie.
Yeah,
so send you a nice bottle for a housewarming present too.
Yeah, whatever you end up buying for Jake after the Bucks win, I'll go and just order it myself, and like we'll do like a Zoom dinner.
A Zoom dinner. I love it. Well, we have one player prop in this game. I want to get both of you guys' kind of discussion here and see what your thoughts are. This one pains me because I know where you're both headed here, and I understand why. And that's because the Buccaneers defense is excellent against running backs. I mean, they have shut down every running back, doesn't matter how damn good they are. And tonight, David Montgomery's rushing yards are 51.5. Jamie, I know you like the under, so I'll let you go first here. Why are you picking the under in this player prop?
For my money, the Buccaneers have the best run defense in football. Statistically, they were there last year, and by the time we get through 16 games, it'll probably be the same again this year. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Melvin Gordon, and whatever combination of Joshua Kelly and Austin Eckler before he got hurt combined, 2.49 yards per carry this year. 2.49. There are 3 superstars on that list. With all due respect to David Montgomery, he is not Melvin Gordon, he is not Alvin Kamara, and he's certainly not Christian McCaffrey. So you're now expecting him, if he's around that average, you're going to need more than 20 carries from him in this game to get over this total. I don't trust Matt Nagy to give him that much work. So the combination of the yards per carry issues he's probably going to have in this game and Matt Nagy's just inability to continue to pound the rock for pretty much in Montgomery's entire existence in Chicago makes me think I'm going to take the under, even though it is a pretty modest total. I still like the under.
I got to agree. I think it's going to be close, though. I think it's going to be close to this page. We have 2 really, really good defenses. Both defenses are healthy with Khalil Mack back. Hicks is back. They were on the injury report, but not really. I like that the Bucs offensive line is healthy. The Bears offensive line is one of the weaker parts of their team. But with these defenses as good as they are, and the Bucs #1 in the league last year by 11 yards stopping the run. So Jamie's spot on their run defense. Todd Bowles, that's exactly what he wants to focus on. I still think both head coaches, both play calling coordinators are going to say, let's run it, not make mistakes. If we got to run it, punt, put our defense back out there. Let's run it, and not, get hit with a sack fumble, something like that. So I think he's probably getting close to those 20. And I think he gets close to the 51.5, but I'll take the under as well. I agree with Jamie. I think this is going to be a defensive battle, and I don't like Chicago's offensive line for that exact reason.
Yeah, you and me both. I definitely don't like what I've seen from the offensive line, and I don't like looking across that and seeing the Bucs defensive line, because I know the Bears have a phenomenal defensive line, but so do the Bucs. Probably one of the more underrated aspect or least talked about is how complete that defense is. So I know the Bears defense will be the highlight going into this, and it'll be teed up as Bears defense v. Tom Brady, but it's really a defensive matchup here in totality with both teams, especially on short short weeks with the lack of weapons that Tom Brady's going to have tonight. Let's get into our segments here, guys. I want to get into over-under, so we will kick things off. I love this. I love this one because you both picked the same game. And you picked the same game, but you went in different directions, which I think is phenomenal. So I'm going to let Jake take it first. It's the Jacksonville game going on the road to play the winless Houston Texans. You went under 54 here, Jake. Why do you think that these two teams will not be able to put up 54 points?
I really don't like the statistics of the early games. They're hitting the over at a monster rate. So I don't feel very comfortable there. I also think the Texans will get a bump from firing Bill O'Brien, and I think they win this game. But I wrote down 24-20. I looked at it a couple times, and I was going, man, that's way under this under. And some of those games that I really liked the over last week, they were at 54. I don't know that they get there. I still don't have a lot of faith in Deshaun Watson reading defenses and lighting anybody up. Jacksonville's defense has played solid. They'd rather run it and not have Minshew throw it quite as much, although they have weapons to do it. I could see either way, but when I wrote down 24-20, I felt pretty good about it. And I said, damn, I'm gonna take the under. This is a tough week for all of our picks. It'll be really interesting to see how this one finishes up. Last week was really solid. But I like it. I'm gonna stick with the under on this.
Yeah, I think whenever you look at a line, right, a little insight to what Jake's doing. So Jake's sitting down and he's writing what he thinks the scores are going to be for these games. And then we're going to go look at what the gambling totals are. When you're 10 points under, you feel pretty confident in it. So it seems that Jake is pretty confident in this one. And now we're going to go to Jamie because guess what? Jamie picked the over in this game. So I love it because the boys, whenever they disagree, it makes it more fun because when they're agreeing on everything, man, I'm like, come on, you got to think differently here or there. And right off the top, Jamie, why is this game going over?
Well, it's the inconsistency of these two defenses. Both of them are two of the 10 worst in the league. Jacksonville is bottom 10 in both yards allowed and points allowed. The Texans are 11th in the yards allowed, but 6th in points allowed. I think Jacksonville can run a very balanced offense in this game. I think James Robinson can run all over Houston's defense. Minshew, outside that Thursday night game against Miami, he's actually been really good. He had a good bounce back game last week. He's been the player that all the hype was about the first 2 weeks. Just everybody kind of jumped off the train. And like Jake, I expect on the opposite side, a big response from Deshaun Watson, this Houston Texans team. There is little to no doubt at this point that there was a major rift between Watson and a few of the guys on that team and Bill O'Brien. I think we're going to see Watson in full Superman mode in this game. It might not be very technically sound, but I think he's going to be all over the field. He's going to be running what he wants to run, throwing what he wants to do. And that won't get him in trouble as much as it usually does because it's a very untrustworthy and young Jacksonville defense, particularly in the secondary there. So one thing I will point out, like Jake said, this is a really tough week. This might be a half unit week for betting across the board. I don't know if I'm putting out full unit bets on anything. This is a really tough week to get a gauge on. There are a handful of games you don't even have the opportunity to wager on this week, and you might not have the opportunity until Sunday morning because of all the stuff surrounding COVID testing. This might be a week where you kind of sit back, relax, and maybe make a little bit fewer small wagers this weekend, and let's get through to week 6.
Yeah, this will be just about making sure you're making smaller, conscientious picks as you make your way through, because with 2 teams on a bye, obviously you're not going to have the opportunity to bet on those teams, and then some other teams that might be sitting out this week, depending on how things shake out. All right, guys, the stay away, the games we are absolutely, all that being said, there's 2 for sure things that the guys are telling you, no thank you. Do not want any part of that line. That does not mean we're telling you to go put 2 units on this, okay? I got to be very clear about what stay away means.
0
that means stay
units.
the hell away. 0 units
0
total. That's exactly right. So Jake's pick here is, and I agree with this, this is such a tough game to figure out what's even going to happen. Colts at Browns. Jake, why are you staying away from this one?
A bunch of reasons. One, no Nick Chubb for the Browns. I think Lamar Hunt. Kareem Hunt has a very solid week if he's healthy enough. But I don't know that they're going to stick to the run like they have in the past. Indy's got the number 1 defense in the league. Has it been fraudulent by who they've played? Yes, maybe. So that's one question mark. I got a huge question mark on Phillip Rivers and how much he has left. We've talked about Drew Brees and his arm a bunch. Phillip looks awful. T.Y. Hilton can't get the ball. He's dropping the ball. But I think a lot of that is the chemistry and the timing with Phillip Rivers. It doesn't look good. They should be able to run it on this Cleveland team. I just don't know what I'm going to get. This Cleveland defense was awful last week. Yes, Dallas's defense, their offense is really good. Dak lit them up. But I don't know that Phillip Rivers can light them up. Are they both going to run it a ton? And this is a very short game. I think it's a really close game. I'm going to take the Colts 24-21, but I don't like it at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Browns win. They've won 3 in a row. They're really solid, but there's so many question marks that I still have on both. I love Indy all the way around, minus how Phillip Rivers is playing, how he looks to me. If he was playing better and that arm didn't look just dead, I would say I'd like this a lot more and this wouldn't be a stay away. But that question mark is a gigantic one if they can only run it. Or a little dump offs like they've been doing. So I'm taking this one as a stay away. I don't really like the pick either way.
I feel like with both of these teams, you're kind of sitting there going, who are they, right? Like you haven't inflated us, especially with the Colts. It reminds me a lot of the Patriots defense last year where everybody was talking about how it could be one of the greatest defenses ever. And then you looked at the 8 quarterbacks that they played and you went, it's a qualifier, right? Like you're playing well, but you're playing well in the context of the games that you're talking about and the teams that you're facing off against. So I'd be weird on that Colts defense overall and what that means. And obviously missing Nick Chubb is going to be tough for the Browns. So I like this one, Jake, staying away. Jamie has a stay away. So he told you he likes a part of this game, right? So he likes part of this game, but he wants you to stay away from the spread. And that is in the Houston game that he talked about up at the top. So Jamie, why are you staying away from the spread in this game?
So right now, Houston is 6-point favorites, but I've gone back and forth because I think Jacksonville is playing like a better team offensively right now. And I think they're going to be able to run at will against Houston and put up points with Gardner Minshew. But there's that factor in the back of my mind that Deshaun Watson is finally free of Bill O'Brien. No matter where you stand on that, that is a factor in this game. So do I want to bet against Deshaun Watson is kind of like FU tour against Bill O'Brien, where he could just put up 5 touchdowns in this game? So this one scares me because I could see the Jaguars winning. And I think if Bill O'Brien was coaching this weekend, I might have taken the Jaguars as one of my underdogs of the week to at least at worst cover that 6-point spread that they are +6 right now. But I'm staying away. The narrative scares me. I think we might get we might get a ridiculous game from Deshaun Watson, a narrative changing game that we talk about all week from Deshaun Watson just this week. So I'm going to stay away from the spread here. I'll bet on the points.
Yeah, bet on the points. Take what you feel more comfortable in. Just watch the FU tour, right? Just let it be there, right? Like let it happen and watch it from Deshaun Watson because we don't know for certain that we're going to see that. But one of the things Jamie talks about is usually after a coach gets fired, you see an inspired team, right? Which makes you want to dive in. Just hope for everybody who's playing fantasy football that you get that inspired performance from Deshaun Watson and just be okay with that. Just stay away from the spread in that one, as Jamie said. All right, underdog of the week. This is a big underdog. Okay, this is a big underdog. The Cincinnati Bengals are going on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens. They are 13.5-point dogs in this one. Lamar Jackson did not practice, but as of Thursday, Jason La Canfora reported that he is expected to play in this game. So Jake is making the assumption that Lamar is playing, right? You're assuming that the team goes out there, they're playing healthy. But if you listen to the TDN Fantasy Podcast, we have told you week in and week out to not bet against backdoor Burrow, and Jake is staying on brand by telling you that this is the underdog of the week. So Jake, is it all about Joey B? Is that why you're buying in?
100%. Joey B, this offense. Their defense hasn't been as horrendous as we talked about them being. They haven't been great, but they haven't been awful. Look, I wrote down 31-24, the Ravens win, before I saw the news of Lamar Jackson missing Wednesday, Thursday. Then they tried to give us the BS excuse that he missed practice, so it's not a big deal. You don't miss 2 days in a row, full no participation, not limited, no participation without it being at least somewhat of a big deal. So I expect this line is going to come down from this. But if it stayed at 13.5, I absolutely love it. They might be up big. But Joey B and the backdoor Burrow Bengals are going to be coming from behind. They're going to be slinging it. They don't mind throwing it 60 times. You have to blitz. This Ravens defense is a little overrated. They gave up 300 yards to a now benched Dwayne Haskins last week, 100+ from McLaurin with a touchdown. I'm not a huge fan of what they have going on. They blitz more than anybody, and they better get home. But Joey B is going to keep slinging it, and he has the weapons to burn you if he does, i.e. what Kansas City did to him a week ago. So if it stays anywhere near 13, I really love it.
Backdoor Burrow, Joey B. This show is all aboard the Joe Burrow hype train because guess what? He's doing it. He's doing it week in and week out, and we are loving it. So do not bet against Backdoor Burrow, man. It's going to come back to bite you. We sold you, and he keeps on doing it. So we'll see what Joey B has in store for the reigning NFL MVP Lamar Jackson this week. Jamie, one of the stayaways for Jake, obviously, was the game you're about to talk about. So you like the Browns and the points in this one at home against the Indianapolis Colts. What about this game, after hearing Jake's analysis, makes you feel comfortable with taking the Browns plus the point?
Well, I don't. I kind of got boxed in the corner here because I don't think this is an underdog week. And right now, you cannot bet on this Bengals game. So wait on that. But I love that. That would be my choice when I should say that line becomes available again in most markets. But my only other underdog I picked this week were the Browns. And I think they have a good chance to win this game. I still think the Colts are fraudulent right now. Rivers does not look good, as Jake pointed out. I think that defense is playing above its head statistically because they really haven't been challenged yet. And I'm excited to see what this Browns rushing attack, what Kevin Stefanski has schemed up, because he's taking stuff from Kyle Shanahan's playbook. I mean, they are running some really exciting running concepts right now. I know they don't have Chubb, but you probably got an extra 1.5 to 2 points in this game because they don't have Chubb. Kareem Hunt is still an elite runner, and I think people are going to realize that now when he has a more featured role versus splitting time with Nick Chubb. I have enough confidence that in a spell role that guys like Dearness Johnson can have some success, that they're going to get the ball into the hands of Odell Beckham Jr. in the backfield, maybe even Jarvis Landry. They're running a lot of really interesting concepts right now. And I don't think the Colts defense has really been tested. So I'm going to take a chance here on the Browns just to win this game outright at home and take the free 1.5 that I'm getting given right now.
Makes a ton of sense, Jamie. As they've talked about both of them, this is a really tough week 5. Especially with some of these lines being taken off the board. So putting the guys on the spot, they got to make picks. So I don't let them get away with it. I make them make their picks, and they're giving their best advice for this week. This one, Jake likes Joey B and Backdoor Burrow so much that his underdog and his lock of the week align, and I love it. I'm all here for it. Jake, you talked about this already in your underdog segment, but I got to hear why your confidence is so high that it is officially a lock of the week for you.
If it stays at 13.5, I absolutely love it. If it stays at anything around 11 or 12, I absolutely love it. Lamar Jackson's going to play in this game, but he obviously has a knee injury. It's obviously worse than they told us it was. If they have to be, Lamar's going to run the read option, but he's going to give it, or they're already going to force him to throw because he has a knee injury and can't run the same way. I've told you these guys like this, going back to Michael Vick, he gets sprains an ankle, he's not the same quarterback if he's not 100% and can't run. So I love their ability to not be able to put up as many points. That defense blitzes, but they've been torched lately. And I love the Bengals' weapons. I love T. Higgins coming on big time. Tyler Boyd's been great. Joe Mixon really bounced back last week. Now, that offensive line is not great. They're probably going to get there, and they're going to hit him. But Joey B's already proven he's tough as hell. He'll take it all, and he's going to fight you until the whistles all go 4 zeros. So I love the fact that he could get inside of that 13.5, 11, 12, whatever it ends up being. I really like where the Bengals are at right now.
Joey B, the show continues on being fans of Joey B and Backdoor Burrow. We may be forced to make shirts. I may or may not have already asked our graphic designer to start working on it. So might be something happening in the works for Backdoor Burrow. Jamie likes a different game as his lock, and I like this one as well. The Rams are going on the road to play the Washington football team. And listen, Washington has had a tumultuous offseason, even in addition to what has happened to everybody with COVID and everything that's going on. But they're taking a lot of flack for this decision. They have decided to bench Dwayne Haskins. They are going to Kyle Allen. This is going to be a different looking offense. Jamie, what makes you confident that the Rams can go on the road, West Coast going East Coast, to play this team with the change and get this done and lock up that touchdown spread?
It's a complete lack of confidence in Washington's ability to put up points. I know they make the switch here from Dwayne Haskins to Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's nothing special. He knows the system. That's all fine and dandy. But going back to last year in Carolina, he's 1-8 in his last 9 games with a 10 touchdown to 16 interception ratio. His adjusted net yards per attempt is barely under 5.2. He is really a nothing special player. He won't turn the ball over as much, you would think, but he showed turnover tendencies late last year in Carolina. So I'm not sure that's true. I like what they have. McLaurin's banged up. He's going to play, but he's banged up. I just don't think they have the horses to run with Los Angeles, who they seem to sleepwalk at home offensively, but they're averaging almost 35 points per game in their 2 road games this year. They have everybody healthy. They're going to have Cam Akers back this week. They're going to be able to run the ball effectively. They're going to be able to throw effectively. Still not sure if Chase Young is going to play in this game. Iodonis is already out for the season. I just don't think Washington's offense can keep up with what the Rams can do, and I don't expect the Rams to sleepwalk this week like they did in a victory against the Giants last week in LA.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense after you watched a poor performance from that LA Rams team last week against the New York Giants. They get it together and have a much more inspired game against this Washington football team. Now, before we get into the 2-minute warning, otherwise known as our final thoughts, Jake has something he wants to bring to the group. So I'm always hesitant about letting the guys have the opportunity to host, but I'm going to let Jake take over here and bring something to the group for us to kind of tee off on. So, Jake, floor is yours. What do you got for us?
So I'm obviously not the gambling expert here, but I'm really good at picking games and telling you what I think is going to happen. I like Pittsburgh. I like Arizona, and I like Dallas to all cover. Now, Jamie, if you're going to take this and make it a teaser this week, I think there's something here. We're talking about a really tough week on betting some of these lines, over-unders, whatever. I think you take this and even throw in those Rams you just talked about maybe. I almost wrote them down with this too. I like all these guys. I picked all these guys to cover this. Dallas scares me a little bit, but how would you work this into a teaser if you want to do a 3-game, whatever the verbiage is for that exactly?
Yeah, so if you want to do a 3-team teaser here, you got to decide, if you're on Bet Online, you have to decide, do you want to go 6 points, 6.5 points, 7, 7.5, or 10? So in this game, you're dealing with 3 lines that are at 7 and 1 line in Dallas that is 9.5. So I think the best way to go here is you want to give yourself, I think 6.5 would be a good one because you get everybody that you want, whatever 2 of the 3 you want that weren't Dallas, you get them to -0.5 point. So they just have to win the game. And you bring Dallas all the way down to -3. If you do that with 3-teamer, you get basically 1.5 to 1. It's plus 146 and change at Bet Online right now to do a 3-team teaser. So that's probably the best way to go. The key is last season, the vast majority, for the first time in NFL history, the vast majority of games ended with a 7-point spread versus any other potential outcome. It's always been 3, but last year it was finally 7. So those are the 2 numbers you're looking to get off of. So 3, 7, and then just outright win. So if you're doing a teaser, you want to tease teams either right down to where they're just flat out win the game, or they get you back down to 3 or 7, or preferably 2.5 and 6.5, so you can win. Because remember, it's just like a parlay. You have to hit all of the legs, but you get to adjust the point totals to make it happen.
Do you like it?
I do. I think all those teams went outright. I don't believe in Joe Flacco at all. Arizona should win that game. I think Dallas can even cover that 9.5 spread, but I love getting that down within a field goal. What was the other game that you had on that list that you liked a lot? Pittsburgh. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh win. Yes, that's a Pittsburgh outright win with basically a free bye week against a Philadelphia team that is not very good. I don't care what they did on Sunday Night Football against the banged up 49ers. So I love that a lot. And you can put those 3 together. It's a Steelers win. It's a Cowboys -2.5, and it's an Arizona win altogether, basically 1.5 to 1 on your return.
And now that you've explained that, I love it. I was hoping you were going to say that.
Jake's been brought into the world now, so now is an understanding of what you can do. That sniffs a lock there, guys. I'm like, are you guys gonna lock that one in? I like it. I don't know if I'm gonna lock it in, but I like it a lot. Jake's gonna lock it in.
I'll roll the dice now that you've got my knowledge on in the gambling game. I'll take that. I like that. I'll lock that in.
One suggestion:
get creative. Lock of the week.
Yes, and one suggestion I would make on weeks like this is to get creative, but don't get ridiculous. Don't do 7, 8-team parlays or teasers. Like, keep it 3. Keep it in that total to give yourself a best chance to win. But these are good for totals as well, by the way. If you're somebody that is like Jake predicts score predictions and you want to kind of bring those totals down or push them up. So in this case, if let's say there's a game as a 54 for Jake, if he wanted to throw that in there and throw that teaser in there, he would be teasing under 60.5 points in that Jacksonville-Houston game. So you can do a lot of different things with those. But again, remember, they work just like parlays. You have to hit every leg of them in order to win. 2 of the 3, you get nothing. You get zip. So just keep that in mind before you go nuts. 3 teams are fine, but don't go nuts with 7 or 8 because you'll talk yourself into it because there are 10-point teasers, and that's where you get in trouble. You start getting those sweetheart teasers that you're like, oh, well, if I just take everything on 10 points, you're going to find yourself losing out. It's just at some point, don't go crazy. But 3-team teasers, I think, are the fun way to go, especially if you're unsure about games like this weekend. There's not a lot of really great options for you.
All right, we like it. We like the creative locks. We might be adding a creative lock segment to the show coming next week because I sense the juices are starting to flow. Jake's starting to watch things pop in his head, and he's going, okay, I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing here. But we've reached the end of the show. It's the 2-minute warning. I love that our production team behind the scenes has given us a clock so I can moderate. This is like the debates that you all have been watching, but I'm just going to cut their mics. I'm just going to tell them, shut up. They'll get a 2-second warning. And then I'm going to look at our production code. Courtney, cut the mic. That's what's going to happen behind the scenes. So Jake is first up. You got 1 minute. The clock is starting now.
Interesting week. So I'm not even going to talk about games because this is a tough week to bet. I'm going to talk about it's the NFL Crucial Catch Month. So you'll see the other night, the guys are wearing all the different colors from all the different cancers on their shirts. They're black shirts. They have all that kind of stuff. I have a dad that's coaching tonight against Chuck Pagano, both cancer survivors. Go back and look at that story from 2012. Can't wait to see the hug before the game as it's bigger than football. We also have a coach in Ron Rivera dealing with cancer right now and trying to coach. And I just wanted to send all of our best wishes to him because I can't even imagine how damn hard that is. He looks exhausted. Coaching is already brutal. It is absolutely brutal to do. And now you're doing it with chemo and fighting cancer. But I think it's an important thing to understand what those colors are, why those guys are wearing those shirts. They used to be all breast cancer, and the NFL brought in all of the cancers together, which I absolutely love. Just wanted to shine light on that. And it starts tonight's game with BA and Chuck Pagano.
Jamie?
I just want to say, following up on that, let's everybody be thankful for football and thankful for your health. If this week has shown us one thing between the Crucial Catch campaign through the COVID issues that the NFL is dealing with, be thankful for those that are lucky enough to be in strong, healthy condition in these times, and be thankful that we have a football season because everything looked really good for the first 3 weeks. And I think some of that got pushed in the back of everybody's minds. And now this is right back to the forefront of, how tenuous these types of seasons, how tenuous these athletes and these coaches and these team personnel, like this goes beyond just the players you're seeing on the field. It goes beyond your betting. It goes beyond your fantasy team. There are families involved, hundreds that have nothing, that do not play on that field, sideline to sideline on Sunday. So, but be thankful that we have a really good week of football ahead with most of the schedule, if not all, depending on how things work out. And then stay happy, stay healthy, and enjoy some good football because it might not be a great betting week, but it's still a great week to watch some football in the NFL.
Love it. Listen, I wouldn't have told either one of you to shut up because you both had solid messaging this week. So it was hard for me because I'm just sitting there going, there's no way I'm going to tell these guys to be quiet when they're going all serious on me. But listen, they know. I have a brother who's a cancer survivor. My father who's a cancer survivor. It's very close to home, as Jake said, with Pops, with BA and Chuck Pagano. I have so much respect for those two men in general as who they are as human beings. But this is kind of that moment. You'll see the two of them embrace, give each other a hug. They're great friends. And tonight they, as Jake said, we may be lining up against each other tonight, but it's at the end of the day, it's all family. So you shake hands afterwards and things are all good no matter what happens. It's the ultimate reminder that the two competitors that are going to be out there tonight are going to feel the same way. So we hope you guys enjoy Thursday Night Football. We appreciate you guys tuning in to Against the Spread. This is our new show. If you haven't seen us or you're not familiar with what we do, we host a show together, the three of us, the TDN Fantasy Podcast. We spun it off into a video show because at the end of the day, these guys have been killing it against the spread for a really long time. So wanted to get these gambling picks out to you guys on video. So be sure to check us out. You guys can see in the bottom corner where you can follow each and every one of us. Enjoy week 5 in the NFL.